That.
844.
What
Closing.
is up? We are live, guys. What's up, guys? How's everybody doing today?
Doing great,
Yo,
man. Look,
There
on
we
this
go. We're
side of
now
the
we're
dirt.
live on Instagram, pushing the Instagram button. We're live on Instagram. Hey, everybody! Welcome to the closing table. This Black Friday, special Black Friday edition. Hopefully, some people are still working. The true hustlers are working today.
yeah, we
Facts.
are.
Because guess why today is important. If you're working, everyone's gonna be on their computers today. I'm not talking about like us. I'm talking about the sellers, buyers. Everyone's online shopping. Everyone's sitting at home on their phone. So if you're doing any type of digital marketing, if you're getting leads or whatever it is, I told Craig this morning like today's gonna pop off for us generating leads for our clients because it's just the amount of normal people on a Friday who are working a job where they can't be on their phone versus today where no one's working and everyone's looking for deals in e-com and looking for those deals and getting SMS blasts. I know that people are going to probably be more open to getting SMS marketing today because everyone's getting SMS marketed today. So it's a good day.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it's gonna be a good day for real estate.
Heck yeah.
Well, hey, we have a special guest with us today, Mr. Reductions himself in the flesh. So,
Yes, sir.
Marcus, who is Mr. Reductions?
Oh man, that's a great question, brother. Mr. Reductions came about some years ago. I linked up with a gentleman who's well known in the REI space by the name of Scott Morris with Llama Sue leads, and it. Then I ended up working with Quick Cash Offer, just bridged that gap. And from Quick Cash Offer, they had this ideas like, "Hey man, let's try you on some reductions." And it was new to me. I'm like, reductions, like, yeah, we want you to renegotiate and go in here, and I'm like, okay, let me try this thing. And it just took off. And I'm like, okay, this is not bad. I like this. And so I developed this name called Mr. Reductions by doing so. Now I get a lot of people just reach out to me when they lock deals up under contracts and they want to renegotiate the spread, or if the buyer comes in a little lower than where they got the deal locked up, I'm at that expert of going back in there and renegotiating to save the deal also. So that's how that came about, and I just ran with it, stuck with it.
Hell yeah,
For
man.
people, for,
So you're
for,
sorry.
yeah, you go for it, Craig. We both have so many questions.
Um, so you're the master renegotiator.
Yeah, that's what they say, man. I mean, I just ran with Mr. Reductions, and it seemed to be panning out that way. Um, this past month was a good month. For every reduction that came down through the pipeline, I just sometimes you got to pop your own collar. And at 75% of these people I talk to is a reduction.
Wow,
And
that's
yeah,
insane.
that's how last month went. And I mean, if I were to go back and just tally everything up, over half the people I talk to, I'm going to renegotiate the contract.
So now I'm on the marketing side, right? So you guys speak this one language, and I'm learning it as we go. But I'm focused more on the marketing side. But it always blows my mind. So, like with what you do, Marcus, it's like a whole separate. It's an additional. I would say it sounds like it's an additional skill that someone who's doing real estate investing, if you're doing, let's say you're doing house flipping or you're wholesaling, whatever it might be, it's this skill set that maybe a lot of people don't even realize how important it is because, um, a lot of people probably what they do, correct me if I'm wrong from you guys who are in this game more than I am, but they go in with like what the number they want the house at, right? And they say
Mhm.
this is what I can do, and that's going to get rejected a very high percentage of the time because it's going to be probably 30 cents on the dollar. But the way it sounds like what you do is, this allows the whoever you're working with or whoever is maybe locking up the deal to maybe go in at a higher number. Then
Mhm.
you come in as Mr. Reduction and massage it to the number it needs to be. But at that point, the house is already under contract. So you're not
Right.
trying to get under contract at the number that's going to get rejected because that. And I feel like a lot of people that Craig and I work with, that's one of the things they probably struggle with is they're coming in with the number that's not going to hit. Right. So now they're negotiating up instead of negotiating down.
Yeah.
Then constantly negotiating that number to be higher and higher and higher for the seller versus coming in and maybe closer to what the seller was expecting. So it's not that sticker shock. And then Mr. Reduction comes in and gets it to where it needs to be in order to get the deal done.
That's pretty much it. It's two ways to look at it. Um, I love working with closers that get them as close to that max acquisition offer as possible.
Mhm.
That's wherein the magic happens. Uh, Oftentimes, I've dealt with clients that have locked the deals up higher than what they should have, and once when they find a buyer, the key is find a buyer first. And those who are not finding a buyer or signing a contract before they go in and doing a reduction, they're shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
So once when we have some people on the pipeline, yeah, just go back in, renegotiate the contract, and get them down, man. So yeah, it's an art to it. I say with reductions, I was like the art of reductions, hidden deals. If you People are not going back in and getting these reductions, they're leaving money on the table.
What are some of the top maybe one or two reductions you think that most people kind of like overlook when they're doing this game?
When they have a spread, to go back in and renegotiate to see if they can get a bigger spread.
Mhm.
I know this ethically, some people may not want to go in there and redo that because they call it greed. But I'm like, well, we're negotiating for a less price anyway when you're going in for the max acquisition offer. So if you're not implementing that as a part of your process or your game, you're losing. And
Mhm.
if you can do just say half of what you lock up and average $10,000 difference on each one of those, that's an extra deal or two in your pocket.
Yeah. Seems
Yeah,
like this day and age, the profit on these deals is in those margins, probably with those reductions. And it's probably seems like those margins are getting tighter and tighter. Definitely over the course of like the last couple of years and maybe going into next year with just
yeah,
people have less equity in the house. And so really the first number you throw at them is probably going to be really tough. You really need to enter that process because that's where all the money's made is
yeah.
in those little margins to where you can get a little bit here or there.
Squeeze it.
Exactly. Yeah, squeeze it as much as possible. I know there's guys out there that they have reached a level that where they would not even lock up a deal if it's not a 20 or 30 or 20,000 plus spread in it.
Yeah.
I'm like, any spread is a good spread. $5,000 beats zero any day.
Yeah. Take
So
take
if
the
I got
singles, right? You can't just always hit home runs. You got to get on base.
exactly. So even if you got a $5,000 spread and you can go in there and renegotiate another $5,000, that's 10 grand. You do that five times, that's $50,000 right there in your pocket, you know? Uh,
So I'm hearing some people may be afraid to do the reduc because they think it's unethical. But is it more unethical to try to negotiate a price, or is it less? Is it the same if the seller lied about how the condition was of the house? Now,
exactly.
a lot of people are doing this virtually, right? So when that comes into play, I feel like probably the reduction is easier to come by because it's virtual than it is paper in hand, right?
Right. Right. And then, I've talked to clients because I pitch too. Uh, Outside of reductions, I pitch to lock the deals up as well. And I run into that from time to time, especially those who've dealt with wholesalers or other investors who just couldn't get the deal across the finish line. And it's like, well, you're just like these other guys. You're going to come out and try to renegotiate the price and this, that. And I'm like, well, I can only go off of what you tell me. And you're
Yeah.
right, so I'm going to check the boxes, but I also set myself up for the reduction that where, hey, look, we're going to dot our I's, cross our T's. If we run into some things that weren't quite discussed during our conversation, if we can absorb that cost and get the deal across the finish line, great. But if I find myself in a position where I can't absorb that cost, that gap, I'm going to come back to you and let you know. I'd much rather be transparent because you're going to run into this same thing with the next
Mhm.
person. and that sets me up. And so I go back in, and I'm like, well, we call it the sauce. There's a gentleman down in Orlando, Florida, run with quick cash offer. His name Anthony Casada. So I throw him out there. He's like, he calls it the sauce. So that's what I use. I'm like, if you give me something extra, something to stand on, then I'm going to reduce you.
Mhm.
Hands down. Um, so that's the part about the game that I like. Now, I cringe sometimes when I have to go back in, depending on how the deal is set up, but that's all a part of the game. And as far as being ethical is concerned, if you're in the sales game and you are dealing with psychology of the sale, what part becomes unethical at that point? You know,
Mhm.
it's a process that people should implement, and if they're not, shame on them because they're losing money.
And also,
Yeah.
is it ethical for a seller to want more than what the house's actual value is? Like, I don't know. Where do we draw that line, right? Because everyone wants it for more price. If I go to a used car dealership and I don't want to pay sticker price, am I being unethical to that dealership who put the price clearly on the car? I wouldn't call it unethical. I'd call that's part of the game. I think this is all it is. It's like part of the game. It's
Yeah.
if
I think it's
Exactly.
where if somebody, meaning like if a seller unwillingly or they deliberately lie to you about the condition in order
Mhm.
to try to stick it to you, then that's
Mhm.
probably the part where it's, hey, that seller is just a bad apple. They're trying
Mhm.
to just screw over whoever is dumb enough to put it on paper with them.
Mhm.
Um, what are some of your pitches on this on the reductions?
You mean it's like what I say to the people?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
need some game for the people out there. We got a couple people watching right now.
Yeah,
How do
man.
you get it?
It all depends on how you go into the call. Like sometimes I go into the call, it's cold. Like these people don't know me from Adam.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that I am used to, and I always have somebody above and beyond me, always. And I was taught that with my when I got into the timeshare game, but that's another
You're
story.
just the middleman.
Because you're not the bad
I'm
guy.
just the
They're the bad
middleman.
guy. You're the good
Yeah.
cop. They're the bad cop.
Correct. Like I have this one pitch I lay it out there for those who are listening. When I really first started doing reductions, it was rough, but I'm taught if I can drum up some emotions, then I'm in the game. Whether if it's you don't like me or you do like me, and I reach out. I'm the junior underwriter. I may reach out to you and say, "Hey, Craig, man, this is Marcus with." I'm just going to use my company, keep my clients at bay. Closer needed. Reaching out to you regarding your file here on 123 Main Street. I see you were speaking with Drew, your advisor on the property. He did a great job. I just want to say that he fought hard for your file, and he got us to this point. Um, but I did run into some issues here on your file, and then that's it. And then they were like, well, what do you mean? I thought
Mhm.
everything was going well. Everything was going well, and believe you me, we've been fighting. Drew has been fighting in the back end, and but I just noticed that your file has been flagged, marked for cancellation by our head underwriter. And they were like, well, what do you mean? So
Mhm.
now that creates
Tension.
questioning.
Mhm.
Yeah, intention. It was like, and some I've been cursed out. And then I'm like, well, here's the deal. Um, Typically, if we run into issues and it, if we find that the file or the home that we're dealing with puts us underwater, or if it's 15 to $20,000 above and beyond what we've already agreed on price with, he just cancels the file. That's it. End of story. Done. We can't get it done. It didn't meet the criterias. It didn't pass inspection to a point we can honor the price. I don't believe in that. Personally, if we just cancel the file, I'm robbing you of your choices.
Mhm.
I'd much rather reach out to you, let you know what's going on. This is what's happening, because you're going to run into the same thing with the next person. So we owe it to you to share this information so you can make a well-informed decision. Whether if you like me or not, or like the information or not, at least you know. Then they were like, well, what are they talking about? It's not me. Well, what the hell is he saying? Or what is he talking about? Well, where do you need to be? Those type of questions start popping up. And I'm like, well, Drew been fighting for your file as well. These guys came in way low. For example, if we were at $100,000, these guys came back saying we were way off by 30, 40 grand. So we need to be at 60 in order for this thing to work. And then they go crazy.
Yeah, yeah. They just hang. So they would just like hang up right there.
Most don't.
Yeah, that's cool.
Most don't. Like they really would come back and say they are either going to say, "Man, that's way too low." I've had people say, "I knew y'all were going to do this." And the ones that's way too low, no problem. I was like, well, hey, we can go ahead and cancel. It's completely up to you. Uh, but what are you going to do when we do cancel? Because now you got to start all over again. So I remind them of that. You got to start all over again. You're going to run into the same situation with the next person, and they may come in way lower than us. But one thing I can say is Drew has been fighting on your side. I'll bring the rep back in, make them look good. And then they may say, well, man, I can't do 60. I was like, well, we can't do 100. And then they were like, well, can you work with me? Can you at least give me 70? Now I got them pushing me back up. And I've already got a spread. And now it becomes the game. I don't know if I could. Well, if I could get us to 70, you better go ahead and secure this now. Nothing else changes in the agreement. I just had to send out an addendum. But let me go fight and see what I can do. Then if I can't get to 70, what are we going to do?
Wow.
Well, can you just go fight for the 70 first? Okay. So I go fight. And then it becomes the chase, and then I come back. Man, look, I'm glad you asked. I didn't quite get us to 70. I got us at 68.5. Hey, stick a pin in it and be done.
At that point,
Well,
they're like, "What's $1,500?" You know? If they
exactly.
were cool with 70, yeah.
Yeah, I never give them exactly what they asked for because I always got to give them
It's usually,
less or sometimes just a little more, depends on how much spread.
Got it. So during this, you have a qualified buyer ready to go at a price, right? While this
Already
is
done.
all happening
Yes, sir.
to
Already
cover
done.
your ass. Okay.
Absolutely.
So worst
If
case scenario, they say, "Hey, no, we're sticking to that price or nothing." You just cough it up and say, "All right, we'll meet you at the closing table."
Uh, yeah, in so many words, yes, but I still have to. It's like a movie
Right.
script. You can't skip scenes, so you
Yeah,
still
yeah,
have to
yeah.
keep the same storyline going. I'm like, if they say,
Yeah.
"Well, no, cancel it," I'm like, "Okay, no problem, man." But I tell you what, before I do this, the information that I shared with you, I understand you're upset. If I were you, I would be upset too. How about this? Um, I'm going to go back and see if there's anything I can possibly do with the file. If not, I get it. And I end the phone call and I let them know, hey, look, take a little time and think about what I just said. Don't shoot yourself in the foot because I don't let your emotions cloud your judgment right now if you really want to sell this house. And I get off the phone with them. And then one of two things that happen. I end up calling them back either a few hours later and say, hey, look, did you give it some thought? And then like, yeah, now I'm back into renegotiating. Or if I just can't get them to give me any type of reduction and I still got the spread, then I pivot to, hey, look, man, I'm going to do what I can do on my end. Now I got to draw it out. I'll call them back the next day, 2 days from now, and like, hey, congratulations. We were able to figure it out. And I give them some story to go along with it and get them to the finish line. Yeah. But if you're ever going in to do a reduction before you having a signed contract, that is the worst thing to ever do. I've actually been in situations that wherein I had to go back in and do a
Yeah, I
double
can see. Do
reduction.
you
Rough. Oh, go
dude,
ahead.
I
I'm
had that
sorry.
question for you. Have you ever had to do a double?
In my
Renegotiate twice for the same person?
Yeah, ugly, ugly, very ugly. And the first one I've learned, I've only done, I can count on one hand how many double reductions I've done. Um, but I learned from the first two so much. That's, as a sales rep, you got to write down your challenges. If you're
Mhm.
not, then you're not growing. So I'm like, okay, this ain't gonna be the last time. So I set myself up, and I'm like, if they negotiate me back up, then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try it. I tell you what, let's go ahead and just lock in this addendum now, and I'm gonna push it. That puts me in a position that where, if I have to go back in to do a double reduction, and the only reason why I'm doing a double reduction because the buyer kicked
Fire.
or something
Yeah.
like that, yeah. And we get another buyer and they end up coming in $5,000 less. I'm like, shit. so I need so I need another reduction. So I go back like, hey man, I pushed it, I tried it, hey, but we should have just went on ahead and did the first one I said. And
Mhm.
then what happens? It just decreases the gap again. So sometimes I get them, sometimes I don't. But I hate those double reductions.
That's gotta, yeah,
They
double,
suck.
dude. That's gotta take everything out of you, man.
Yeah,
That's that's tough. That's
yeah,
tough.
I hate it. But I mean, it's been done. But I mean, I would like it could be avoided as long as your buyers don't back out, or of course you don't go in and do a premature reduction. I make it known now that, and I let my clients know I will never go in and do a reduction until you have it assigned. I had one client really push me to do it a few times, and it ended up shooting him in the foot because I got this guy down 15 grand, and his buyer came in right at where we relocked him up at.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
It, yeah, didn't work.
Jeez, man. There's a a lot of wholesalers, investors in the space watching right now. Do you think most wholesalers who lock up a deal too high, they would rather just cancel than try to put the deal back together?
Yeah, there are guys that's out there that's scared to even go in to do a reduction. And what I've experienced, especially the reps to call their client back to do the reduction, they're scared to do it. In fact, they're the ones who should be doing it, really, because you
Why?
built that relationship with that client. You're that guy that got them this far.
Yeah.
I have a higher percentage of doing reductions on my own deals that I lock up than somebody else. But I mean, because I mean, my people love me, but I always have somebody above me. I
Mhm.
always have somebody above me. It's a ghost TO, we call it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, there's so many people. There is though. Like I guess who the person is your client, is the guy, the buyer buying the deal. Like those people all have a say in what you're bringing to the table. It's just the seller never knows exactly who that is.
right.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
Man, why do you think people are so afraid, or just they don't want to get into that to try to renegotiate a deal?
Because I think they fought a hard fight to reduce them down to the max acquisition offer where the underwriting department told them, hey, look, this is where we need to be.
Yeah.
And it wasn't an easy fight to get them to that number. And so now for a rep's mind to be like, oh man, I reduced this guy down $30,000 to get our number. Now you want me to go back and ask for another 20 grand off? uh, that's tough for the mind, for most reps, and they don't do it. I know some guys that they don't even go back in and do the reduction. They say we are do it right the first time, or it's unethical. But I'm like, no, you're weak. Go back in and fucking
Mhm.
get. Excuse
Oof.
me. Go back in and get the reduction.
Hey,
That's
You
the
know.
truth, bro.
yeah, I get you, man.
Speaking
Yeah.
facts, man. I mean, this call is good. This is good.
There's
I'm
some
learning
free
a lot.
games for everyone watching in, for everyone tuning in.
Yep. Mm, thank you.
So closer needed.
Yes.
Is this the reductions campaign, or is this something else? What's closer needed?
Closer needed is basically like sales mercenary for hires. I had a good friend label me as that. It's for investors that's out there. They're rocking and rolling, man. They either want to expand or scale their business. need help closing, or even for the new guys who are stepping in and ramping up this marketing, it's like I'm a plug and play uh, sales professional that you don't need to watch. I have a team that I constantly train. And in short, man, when investors generate leads, sometimes deals slip through the cracks. They bring us in to help with that because with closer needed, you're going to get nurture.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get a sales rep. I don't dial through people's CRMs. I only
Mm.
pitch by appointments. That's it. That's the reason why the nurture's there or lead manager's there. So closer needed provides that. And then I do your reductions. So if you're my client and we lock up a deal at 20 grand and you got a 20 grand spread,
Mm-hmm.
let me reduce it. We all can get paid together. So um it definitely ha- I've definitely helped quite a few clients, those guys who've been in the game for quite a while and those who've actually kind of just getting started. So we plug and play with everybody.
Who's your like I guess like typical perfect client?
Man, anybody with a pain point or uh motivation.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way to put it. I mean, am I answering? Is that the right?
I guess if someone wanted to hire you, who would be the right fit for to hire closer needed? Is it people just who feel like they lack the sales or reduction side and they're good at generating leads, or maybe
Um,
someone who's a little bit greener to the game who needs a little bit of extra muscle to get things over the goal line?
I help everybody. Everybody's my ideal, like to me, my ideal client. You have to be built out. If you don't have a process, if you don't have a CRM, if you're not marketing,
Mm-hmm.
you're not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
But for those who are have marketing channels in play, they are generating leads. They have leads sitting in their CRM that's not being nurtured or just being forgotten about. That's my ideal client.
Got
That's
it.
it. Yeah,
So
you know.
people who are consistently closing deals, they've turned this is a full-fledged business doing it full time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, full time. Now I have one guy who was doing it full time. He had to step back and do it part time, and that's why he called me in. His systems are in place. His systems are in place, and we got off at a rocky start because my clients always give me the max acquisition offer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing the underwriting. I pitch
Mm.
off their numbers. So if I'm pitching off your numbers, then the percentage of you getting across the finish line should be higher than me doing it. It eliminates the man, you locked this up a little too high. No, I take all of that out. If you can give me the max acquisition offer and you can generate leads, you have leads with motivations, we're making money.
Yeah.
Excellent, man.
What's we always love this one, and we've asked this I think to every single person we've had on, but
Mhm.
what's the craziest? I guess we say like the craziest deal you've locked up as far as like storylines. Everyone's got some crazy ones.
Man, I got a few of them, man. That's gonna be one of them ones we could sit back and probably smoke a cigar to. But one of my wildest pitches was a reduction pitch, and I was in the Orlando office, and we plugged. I went live in the sales center, so everybody could hear this reduction. Get hype, and I get on the phone with this lady, and it went left, and it scared me, but I had to stay calm. But this lady
Mhm.
started talking about suicide and killing herself, and I'm like, oh shit. Oh, my heart started pounding, so and then I had to let her get it out. I really had to lean on my experiences with this lady, and to de-escalate the situation, and finally was able to de-escalate her to lever her out, and then her husband was back there cursing me out. They
Mm-hmm.
called me everything but a child of God, man. And I was like, okay, let them get it out. This is good. And the sales center was like, oh shit, did
This is
she just
real,
say what
man.
she just said? And and then so eventually I got her to calm down to a certain degree, that where her husband got on the phone, and that helped. And then he got on the phone and just laid me out. And it's like, look, man, I'm so glad you got on the phone, because the last thing I would want is what your wife just said to me to happen over a house. And I get it, you guys are under pressure. I would much rather you guys, and this is a line that a lot of people should use, is like, I would much rather you guys hate me now for this and love me later, because I'm the guy that's going to help you get this done, versus love me now for being some sheep or somebody that's going to say
Mm-hmm.
okay and hate me because I'm not strong enough to tell you what you need to get done.
We
I
need to
know
hear.
you don't like what I'm telling you, but somebody's got to do it. And that's got to be me. I don't want to throw you guys by the wayside. Would you much rather us cancel the file? And when he said no, done.
Then you know.
45 minutes on the phone with these people. 30 minutes of them were cursing me out and de-escalating the situation. 10 minutes of that was me seeing if I could get us a certain number. The other 5 minutes was me writing up the addendum and sending it out to them to get it done. So they went from suicide, cursing me out. Marcus, thank you. I appreciate you for hanging in there and helping us out. And we're sorry. They started apologizing to me. Like, hey, but that was intense. That was one of my most intense in my entire sales career moment, when somebody started talking about suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
how big was the spread?
Ah, brother, it wasn't a huge spread at all. If I'm not mistaken, ended up being like a 7K spread, but
How much
our
was the reduction for?
30
Oh,
30 grand. Yeah,
That was pretty far off from where it
way
needed to
off,
be
way
from the
off,
front.
way the hell
Wow.
off. I have that. I actually kept that recording. I keep some of my recordings from my reductions. I have about 10 of them, and so I'm start building up a library,
yeah.
because I have to go back and critique myself, as well. So I have the recording of that call. It's scary to listen to, but if you listen to it with the intent to learn, because people out here, when we start dealing with reductions, or
Mm-hmm.
even your initial pitch with somebody who's could be going through some really life pressing issues, that really need to sell their house, and they really need X amount of dollars and cents to be able to get them there, but also negotiate, hey, look, ideally, I know you need to be here, uh, for you, but this is all that the house is going to give us to get there. You're going to run into a situation that where people is in dire need. They're going to curse you out, and if they don't get the house sold,
Mm-hmm.
what are they going to do? You got to be strong enough to be able to handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
That's tough, man. Um, that is wild. A lady, do you think was it the money that she wanted to kill herself? Was it that, or was it something else?
That's a good question, Craig. They really needed they really did need it to move out of this house. Um,
Mm-hmm.
from what I remember, they really needed to get out of the house, and they were using X amount of dollars and cents to move. That went away.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Stuff like that, and they were in some type of pressing situation they were in. They just had to sell the house and move on. But the lady, the, I don't know if she had. I don't think she had mental behavior issues or anything like that, but she just went off the deep end.
We find this a lot. Like a lot of times, as much as you are a closer or a salesperson or a real estate investor, like kind of a therapist to these people, especially if there's motive. If there's real motivation, then you got to be some type of therapist, and you got to connect with them as people first. They're not going to
Right.
trust you to sell you the house at a $30,000 discount if they don't build some type of rapport. Therapist, whatever you want to call it. And I think what it is really what we found is listening. Just like they want someone to listen. And if you sit there
Yes.
and listen, when so many other people just want to talk numbers, dollars, and cents, but you're talking like you care about them, the situation in, it's always going to go a lot farther. So many people we see. Some people we've worked with, they get leads, they look great, and they'll find a way to disqualify the lead before they even talk to the person.
Mm,
Doesn't seem like a motivated lead. You don't know if a lead's motivated. It could say the best thing on paper, and you could talk to them, and they can never pick up the phone. It could say moving, and they could say that the house is in perfect condition, and then you get them on the phone, and you find out they're going through hell and back, um, and they just want to listen. You just got to listen to them for an hour, get it all off their
yeah.
chest. Then
Yes.
they're willing to work with you on whatever it is that you need to be able to help them. And I think that gets overlooked a lot, and people just think about this as a dollars and cents game. And what can I get it for? What I can sell it for? But it's really like you got to build that rapport and connection with that person before you're going to get anything done.
Absolutely, man. And you hit it spot on, spot on. That's one of the things that I run into with training reps is they're so quick to want to get into the pitch that they don't take the time to listen to people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a stickler over that because I was taught there's four things: like, listen, trust, buy. If
Mm-hmm.
they don't like you, they're not going to listen. And if they're not listening, they damn sure ain't gonna trust you and
Mm-hmm.
forget about them buying. So you have to make a friend first. And you have to be a rapport. Out the gate, I'm always building rapport. That's the number one thing on my list when I get on the phone is build rapport. Now you develop a skill that we're in there with, and you pay attention to certain personality types or how hot these people are coming in. You just can't sometimes build rapport all at once. You have to build it all throughout the process. Some people you could just sit there and speak to them, like you said, an hour or so. Let them get it off their chest. Be that counselor, be that therapist, because that's going to help you, help
Mm-hmm.
them. And
Whenever Craig jumps on, first thing he goes is, "Hey, so what's going on?" And then he just shuts his mouth, and as long as it takes, and then he'll start talking about going to whatever it is, asking further questions about the actual property. But doesn't talk about the property at all
yeah,
until he figures out what's going on in their life. Why are they looking to sell it? And some people, they play it really close to the chest in the beginning, so you have to
mm,
pry a little bit more and figure it out. But other people, it's just you say that, and next thing you know, an hour's gone by, and you just been listening. Um,
it-
for a free therapy session for the day.
all day. And you're right, man. And I love that, Craig. I mean, so you got to take the time to get to know the people, and people want to do business with people they like. I
Mm-hmm,
don't do business with people I don't like.
for sure.
I don't care if they got a good deal. I'm not doing business with you. I go down the street and pay more with somebody I like.
Hundred
You
percent,
know? Yeah.
100%. So before real estate, what were you doing for a career?
Whew. Timeshare, man. Timeshare. I Yeah, I used to sell timeshare from
Got it.
2001
That's
to
a game right there.
2017. Bro, that's where my skill set comes from. I tripped into the timeshare business in 2001. I have an engineering background. I used to be in electronics engineering and tech industry pop. So I moved back to Virginia and discovered that there were resorts in Williamsburg. I had no idea. And then that's when I got into the timeshare game. That's where I learned that like, listen, trust, buy from. Building rapport is actually a part of your pitch. Uh, these guys gave us a pitch stapled together, about 8 pages long, and we had to memorize it. And part of it was warm up. And they taught us how you make a firm handshake and look at the people eye to eye. And they broke down the psychology of the sale. Um, and then from '01, yeah, my first year in the timeshare business was I did what they call frontline sales. That's the people that's trying to get you to buy your first timeshare. And then a year after that, I went into what's called an in-house department, which is a backdoor sale, and it's relationship selling. And at first I didn't get it. Like I tried it and I failed miserably. And then once when I understood how that backdoor process worked, it just took off from there, man. And I did it for 16, 17 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
That if you can this day and age, if you can sell timeshares, I feel like you can. Yeah, you got a future if you're good at that.
brother. Timeshare sales is one of the hardest sales on the planet because nobody comes in there saying we want to buy a timeshare. Nobody does. They always come for the gift. So it's a wired tour. So you have to in the end, they only give you 90 minutes. And
My
90
my
minutes, they could just get up and walk out.
my girlfriend tried to talk me into going and to one for the free gift, and I was like, I know you. You're gonna end up with a timeshare, so we're not going. Like I know these guys are killers. Like
Yeah, brother.
you'll go into your mind, you'll go in there 100%. I'm not going to do it. At the end of it, I'm like, you're the type of person you're gonna do it.
You're gonna do
So
it.
we're not going.
Absolutely. And timeshare salesmen are very persistent. It's like it's you're either gonna get up and walk out or you're gonna buy. And you have several trial closes and you just keep the pressure on and persistent. I I never forget when I first got into the business, like I learned what a B back was. I hated it. It broke my soul. You know, they were like, yeah, Marcus, we love you. We're coming back. Okay. And then my managers are like, what happened? Hey man, they say they're coming back. He was like, oh, you got B back. I'm like, what is that? You know, it's like they're never coming back, man. He was like, you might as well tell them when they come back, come look for Mr. Blue. I'm like, Mr. Blue is like, yeah, if you hold your breath, you're gonna be blue by the time they come back. They
Mhm.
ain't fucking coming
Ooh.
back.
Why
And
is it called that?
and then I was like, okay.
Mhm.
Then I learned what really got me was
Mhm.
what really changed the game for me is at that time I had my kids were young. I had 4 kids, married, 4 kids, and and the client was like, Marcus, we love you, but we're gonna come back. And and it's like you ever seen the Grinch that stole Christmas when it's like my heart like broke. I'm like, mm-mm. I'm like, then that's when I went dark. I'm like, okay, it's game on. A sale is going to be made every time I sit down and talk to somebody. Either they're going to sell
Mhm.
me or I'm going to sell them. I have mouths to feed. I can't pay my bills with B-backs and being nice. So
Mhm.
then I leveled up and became more persistent and put the squeeze on these people and start dialing into the psychology and then closing and just leveled up my game. And I didn't care what your situation was. Like, long as I got the deal, good. There were some people that shouldn't even been on tour with buying. You're gonna
Mhm.
buy. Simple, you know. But yeah, that was a good ride, man. I ain't gonna lie. I enjoyed the timeshare game. It was quick money. You just make a lot of money in timeshare. Uh 6 figures a year, all day.
Mhm.
And you either sold if back then if you did not sell, you did not eat because it was commission only.
Only, yeah, 100%
Yeah.
commission.
Yep.
What do you think is the biggest things you learned from the timeshare selling game to now that's helped you in the real estate investing world?
Never prejudge a lead.
Mhm.
Always run your process. Never abandon the process. If you prejudge a lead, that's the death to a salesman. And even at my being experienced, I find myself sometimes have to pull myself out of looking at a lead. Like, no, run the process.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I learned. That's
Dude,
what,
that's
yeah.
huge, man. That is huge because I think we all do it. We all look at, like, hey, the more information we get up front, the better. But then maybe
Hmm.
more information isn't always the best thing because now you're not going in there with a open book, right? You're going in there with all of this
Uh-huh.
or reading it all and not going in there at all. But you truly don't have the full scope of the situation
Maybe
because
your
you're
hopes are too high and you're going in and you're not working as hard because you think it's such a hot lead. I'm gonna
yeah.
crush this. and then you don't give it, you subconsciously don't give it the 100%, as you will when
Exactly.
it's bad. So I mean, Craig and I, we generate the best leads in the industry, and we see it. And for us, we love when someone gushes and spills their heart out on our lead forums, and
Mhm.
we get stuff. We have full pages of people telling their whole life story, like you talked about when you get them on the phone. Put that on the forum. To us, we love that because it makes us look good. But we also understand in this game, we've some of the biggest deals we've done as investors have been where you have bare nothing. Could be from cold calling a list or from
Yeah,
just running into someone moving stuff out of their garage, and you ask them if they're moving, right? Um, but that being said, that's why you got to treat them all equally. The
exactly,
hot
man.
ones, the ones that look hot, definitely have a higher likelihood to be
Mhm.
right a deal. But it doesn't mean that because this one doesn't have information that it's any less likely to be a deal.
Right. I agree with you wholeheartedly there. In fact, when you said that, remind me of in the timeshare game, they used to give us slips in the in-house world, information on where they've been as far as tours are concerned, everything else as far as their ownership. And guys were prejudging. They was like, oh, they just upgraded last year, or they just upgraded 6 months ago. They used to take it away from us because it forced us to discover. You got to do a discovery, and that's what happens. People, they just read everything and they don't even take the time to discover, do a discovery. And like you said, they may read the lead and like, oh, this is a hot lead, and they start cutting corners
For
and then
sure.
wonder
Yeah.
why they don't get a sale on the back end. I'm like, shit, you know, you can't, that's like baking a cake. You can't skip the steps. You got to add the ingredients and follow it through.
And also they may wait longer to contact a lead if it doesn't seem as hot, or they may see the lead being so hot and being like, oh, this is a layup, I can finish what I'm doing, call that person in an hour, versus
Worst
calling
thing.
them the second comes in. You need to call every single lead the second comes in. If the person put all gibberish in the forum and a random phone number, see if their fingers are broken, right? Treat it all
Mhm.
equally. I think that's some really wise info there, and we see that a lot on our end. What do you think is when it comes to like going in for reductions? What are the top things that I guess motivation or pain points that someone's going through where they're most likely to be able to give a reduction? Is there specific things, or like someone's going through a divorce, or maybe they inherited the house, or they're going through foreclosure, or so what is the pain point you think that the highest likelihood of being able to get a good reduction from?
May sound wild to you, man, but they're all the same. As
Hmm.
they're under contract and it's a sign, they're all the same. I don't even I look at the pain point for a topic of discussion if
Sure.
I needed to really push on them. But the fact that they're on paper,
Hmm.
and if I can get what's called the sauce, anything different or any type of variation that I can get based from different from what we were told to what we see now, done deal. Doesn't matter.
Guy, what we got some people watching who are all probably in the real estate investing world. Some people are, they're beginners, they're new to it. Some guys, like Craig and I talk about all the time, some guys have a built out sales team, they have CRMs, right? They have their processes and stuff all dialed in. Some guys they watch some YouTube videos. They've been told that real estate wholesaling, house flipping is a way to get rich quick, and they're watching some YouTube videos and they're diving in head first and liking all these pages and joining all these groups, and they're trying to get the first deal done. But I guess there's like a whole scope of this, that scope of like, what is some of the best advice you could give people either entering this world, in this world, maybe something that's for someone who knows what they're doing, and maybe it's because the industry is heading a certain direction, and then something for someone who's like brand kind of new coming into this.
For somebody that's brand new, man, I would say they need to really kind of come up through the ranks. They should cold call. They should start pitching people. They should actually jump on YouTube and start following people like Steve Train and guys like that. They need to really develop some sales skills.
Sure.
There's a lot of guys out here who are in this in the real estate investment game, can't close the door if you help them push.
Mhm.
So they really need to do that. So for the newcomers coming in, learn how to they need to know the process. They need to learn how to talk to clients, off market clients. They need to go from there to pitching these off market clients. And I know some of these guys may hate me, but pay attention to these coaching programs that you jump
Mhm.
into, because a lot of them BS, and
Mhm.
they're designed to take your money and leave you stranded, because 9 times out of 10, most people are not going to put in the work that they're telling you to put in the work in order to get there. So now you're out money. Take that money and invest it in in yourself, as far as learning. Go buy a
Yeah.
book.
Greg and I see these like a lot of people paying 25K for someone to tell them to work harder.
Jesus.
Like
Yeah,
25K a year to, hey, you need to just do a cold plunge and work harder, right?
that's
Is
it,
what
man.
this whole game is, and versus the people out there doing it. And I'll tell you what, if so, this is a very nuanced question, but make sure that they've done deals before you hire anybody or sign up for something. See if they can prove that they've got the slips to show that what they've done. And if they have too much of a personal brand without enough to back up what they've actually done for deals, it's a red flag.
Yeah,
The personal brand game is a shortcut to get people into a coaching program and just take people's money. If you haven't seen that this person's paper trail of them working before they became a internet quasi celebrity, of stuff they've actually done, and understand companies that they've built or something, then it's a red flag, and we see that all too much.
absolutely. It shucks. To me, if you're gonna coach somebody, let them shadow you. Let them check out your operation. Let them hear you pitch. Let them see, like you said, your credentials. That's where it's at. If you can find
Mhm.
yourself a good mentor or a accountability coach, cool. That shouldn't cost you 20 grand. You
Who
could
have been
you could
some of
take
the
five grand and buy a book,
yeah,
but
of
a
course.
lot of books.
Yeah. What are some of the top ones in the, I guess, in the industry that you would recommend people check it out, whether it's on YouTube or wherever you people that you look at and like that guy's got the sauce.
I really like don't get me wrong, I like Steve Train. Anybody,
Mhm.
I learned from a lot of people. Chris Voss. I dig his approach. Jeremy
Mhm.
Miner. I like these guys are cool. Um Guys like that. Old school sales techniques. Zig Ziglar.
Mm-hmm.
Go
Yeah.
go
OG.
check out, yeah, go check out old Ziggy. Uh Fire. I learned a lot from reading Ziggy's books. So those would be the guys that I would check out. Then you got um, another gentleman who I've been really paying attention to here on YouTube here lately is Eric Brewer with the with Novations. Guys like that, man. Um, yeah.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah. Um, we have someone asked a question. Does your services work with realtors?
No. No. I'm not there yet.
Okay, so just investors, wholesalers,
Just
buyers, stuff like
yep.
that.
Yes,
Got it.
sir.
What do you think is the most? This one's what is the most? Would you say is the most important thing to know about specifically talking to off market sellers that makes them different from other sellers?
Uh, that's a good question, man, because off market sellers, they if you could talk to an off market seller and you find a motivated off market seller, then that puts you ahead of the curve.
Hmm.
They didn't, you're the first, almost like the first person that reached out to them, to me, versus them out talking to a realtor. You know, don't get me wrong, I love realtors.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, that's it.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
And
Marcus,
there's a lot of great info in here today.
I know we could go forever.
We
Um,
could.
what are your thoughts on the investor? I mean, I ask a lot of people this same question, but just because we're going into a new year, things have been, happening a lot lately. What what are your thoughts on working with one trick pony investor? They're only doing one avenue. Like how are you navigating that to be able to provide your full service to somebody if they're kind of stuck in their ways, only looking to do one type of exit strategy on the real estate side?
If they've mastered that exit strategy, because I have a client, all he does is wholesale. We've done one novation, and I did that locked it up for him. But
Mm-hmm.
wholesaling is his game. He has clients, he has buyers.
Mhm.
So if it works for him, I'm fine with that. As long as you, I don't care if you have one exit strategy or three exit strategies. As long as you can get that mofo across that closing table, we're good. I work with everybody.
Have you?
Oh yeah, sorry, go for it, Craig. I know
Oh,
you
sorry.
follow.
I was just gonna. Have you ever had to change maybe the exit strategy you're doing? You lock up a deal for a client of yours, cash offer, but halfway through the transaction, you realize that we need to do it sub two, or we need to do it novation. Or have you ever had that happen? Do we have to change the deal?
Twice. That where we locked it up and then turned around and actually flipped it to a novation.
Uh huh.
Yeah. That's it. But typically, um, the process is try to lock them up on wholesale numbers first, and if wholesale doesn't work, then we're looking for the other avenue. If I can't lock you up on wholesales, then we start exploring the other exit strategies. Um,
What's that conversation like with the seller? Telling them, "Hey, we have to do it this way now." How does that go?
well, I need to, as far as like switching them from wholesale to a novation is just a new contract. And like,
Mhm.
hey, look, remember when I told you that we have different exit strategies? Our main thing is fix and flip. We do buy and hold. We prefer not to.
Mhm.
But we do have another option that could possibly put a little more money in your pocket and put a little more money in our pocket. Everybody wins. Are you opposed to that?
Mhm.
They're like, no. Okay, so then they say, well, what's the difference? Well, the difference is the time frame of closing. Instead of 45 business days or less, we're looking at 90 days or less.
Mhm.
Would that be an issue for you? No. Okay, great. So now time is out of the window.
Mhm.
Then the next step is, okay, well, this process is a little different. Most of us call it the white glove treatment.
Yeah.
Some are now using different verbiage, the equity protection program. Um, but what this does, guys, is allows us to open up your home to a bigger market, and we can bring different types of buyers to the table. We're still responsible for handling the updates and the refurbishments or whatever is needed to get it across the finish line, but we might be able to mitigate that cost in this process that can put a little more money in your pocket than ours. What do you say? If you could do that, cool, man. As long as we get the money, I don't care.
Yeah, we always love that. Like we work with tons of our clients, our investors too, and we look for specifically people who know how to do those multiple exit strategies so that they can maximize their marketing dollars they're giving to us. We want all of our clients to get as many deals as possible, right? But we hate it when they only can do wholesale, and I'm sure they're leaving money on the table by not knowing how to do novations, not knowing how to do sub twos, and understanding that, like we talked about, getting on base, right? If you can get on base with a certain percentage of your leads, it's going to pay for your entire marketing. It may pay for your team. It may pay for you to hire an employee to be able to invest more into marketing, right? It's not all
Mhm.
just going to be those 20K rips, wholesale rips every single time. But
Right.
but that's what we love. We work with Steve Morales. You definitely check out his channel if you have him. He's a killer. And I love his technique. He gets the seller on the phone and he goes, after he builds a report, he's like, okay, well, we have these usually 4 different ways we can help you. And each one of these is a little bit different. I'm going to explain them to you. And he knows the 4 different ways he can help them. He goes, the first way is this. If that doesn't work for you, we can do this. If that doesn't work for you, we can do this. And then he lets them kind of choose off the platter. He obviously, the way he poses
Right.
them probably
Hmm.
leads them to the one that he's most, but they already know kind of what they're getting into. And when you approach that versus just going through the jugular of the wholesale 30% on the dollar number and just saying take it or leave it type of thing, now the people feel like they're working with a legitimate company that's multi different ways they can help them, and they have things to talk about and ask questions about. Well, what are the pros and cons of that? Now they're building rapport, they're trusting you more, the more likely to eventually go with one of those. And he understands that no matter what they choose, if they, it's like the illusion of choice, either way,
Mhm.
as you as the investor is going to win. But you're letting them feel like they have all the power.
Yeah, you're giving them a choice, and I don't knock that approach at all. If that works for him, then spot on. And I definitely agree with you. The more exit strategies you have, the
Mm-hmm.
better off you're going to be. Yeah, you can
Sure.
definitely lock up more deals. I think the issue with some of these guys out here is they really don't know how to pitch the the
Yeah.
the other exit strategies, and that's where
Yeah.
they get caught up, which is another reason why, like, I pay attention to Eric Brewer and these guys that's dealing with the novations. I know I'm not the best at pitching novations. I have skills, but the more I understand it, the better I can pitch it, you know. So you're right. You definitely have to open up the door and deal with these exit strategies. Personally, my process is I'm gonna run you through wholesale first, hands
Mm-hmm.
down. Because if I start introducing you to various things, too many things is going to
Many
cause you to
things.
have to think about it.
Confusion. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm going to box you in on wholesale first, and then be that guy to say, hey, you know what? Now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, I understand, look, this number's not going to work for you. There may be another way I can help you, but not
Mm-hmm.
all people qualify. Um, in fact, a lot of people don't qualify, but it's worth a shot. I much
Mm-hmm.
rather find out and get a no than assume that I'm going to get a no. And they were
Absolutely.
like, well, what is that? Then I segue into um to more like a novation pitch, or
Mm-hmm.
if they're open to taking their money over time. Now I give you an alternate. I would switch into an alternate close an alternate approach on sub two or
Mm-hmm.
novation type deal. And then it's like, well, if I can take the money over time, I can give you a little more money if you take the money over time, or we can take this approach. Let them choose from that point. But I would never mix up wholesale with other with
100%.
yeah.
I feel like too, as well as the sellers are always coming in. They always just want to hear the cash offer first. That's
Mm-hmm.
probably 99% of them. The
Mhm.
lead is already, they're expecting to get a cash offer. That's the marketing they saw. That's why they're coming to you. So going down the road of like, hey, here's what a cash offer would look like, then they can kind of take a step back and be like, oh, wow, I need a lot more than that. And then it'll just
Mhm.
kind of lay them into the other avenues you can, guide them on.
Facts. And there's a bar that I picked up from Steve's train when they come in for the anchor. Is this is what I'm seeing, and he throws out the number, and then he follows up with, "Does that surprise you?" Man,
Mm-hmm.
that's a hot bar, because now it allows the person to say yes or no. I'm conversing with you now. I'm like, yeah, that does surprise me.
Yeah.
I'm not browbeating you over your number. Is either going to be surprising. We can talk about it. Well, why does that surprise you?
Mm-hmm.
Because now I'm getting your opinion. Or no, it doesn't surprise me. Okay. All right. Well, being that it doesn't surprise you, will that be able to work for you if something we were able to work something out in that category? Well, if you can do this, they're gonna say yes, yes, it works, or no, it don't. And I need to find out, well, why not?
Steve Trang, he's an OG. We did a live stream with him a couple weeks ago, and he called
Yeah.
was calling our leads that we were generating. And
Uh-huh.
the first lead he called, he got under contract within, I don't know, probably within an hour of on the phone with him. And it was
Man,
just it was a master class. We were just sitting there in awe watching.
fire. But y'all boys pump out some great product though, man. You're as I learn more on the marketing side of what you guys do behind the scenes, y'all some
Mhm.
freaking scientists, man. So
Thank you, bro.
yeah, and I'm not just saying that to be saying it. You guys
Yeah.
pump out some great products. So, and to a point that wherein you can literally make great closers, weak
Mhm.
closers, because they're looking for that sauce, and it's like because they just fall over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
know that if it's if some people we may be working with that if they're struggling with what we can provide, where it's like, well, it's going to be hard to find something better than this. Like as us, we know we do. We built this exactly the way we wanted it for ourselves, for our internal acquisition team, right? And so we know it works because we use it. We use it every single day. Um, so it's we just know what's out there. It's tough. It's who you are. The lead,
yeah.
like we said, most leads are created equal to some extent. They're going to have the same probability when you look at 100 leads. There's going to be a percentage of them that are going to be workable, percentage of them that are not workable. The ones that are workable depends with about who you are, who the person calling them is. That's the difference between it. And if they're not closing, you can't blame the leads on that. It's not the lead's fault at that point.
Exactly. It's the reps fault all
Yeah.
day long. And to me, with PPC, these people are hand raisers, and
Mhm.
it's a higher quality lead,
Yeah.
and they close quick. They close very, very fast. I mean, if you within 30 days, you should locking PPC deals up. And
Mhm.
you guys click funnel. I know a little bit. You guys click
Yeah.
funnel is tight. You don't let the BS. Y'all
Mhm.
don't deal with that. You kick them out if they don't meet the criteria.
We like
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
quality over quantity, and sometimes you get a little bit of both, but quality over quantity.
yeah,
Um, you want to be calling five awesome leads a day versus 500 people that don't pick up the phone
brother, I
or have
take
no idea what you're talking about.
exactly. Yeah, I definitely take quality all day long. Quantity is a waste of time. Waste of time. I don't know.
So,
Quality
so,
all day.
so, Mark, where can people reach you? Talk about like where people if they want to hit you up for they need a closer to come in. They have a CRM full of sellers that they've been struggling getting over the goal line. They built a rapport with, or potentially someone who just needs someone to come in and help with reductions. How can people find you?
They can find me. You could go straight to my website, www.closerneeded.com, and you can actually book an appointment right through my website. Of course, you can DM me online. I'm on Instagram at Mr. Reductions. Um, you can also email me at info@closerneeded.com, and I'll be right there ready to talk to you, see what we can do to work together.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I think that's pretty much it. Marcus, you got any what's gonna happen in 2026, man? How do you see the market reacting?
2026 is gonna be a wild one. I'm finding that some of these sellers out here are really understanding that we're in a buyer's market. So it's
Yeah.
guys like us that's keeping the market afloat, and it definitely position if your exit strategy is on point, you're going to be able to lock up quite a few deals and get them across the finish line. So that's what I'm seeing coming down through the pipeline for 2026, and it's happening right now as we speak. I see the difference.
Hell yeah. Great
Yeah,
closing thoughts, man. Love it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much gonna wrap up for today, guys.
Yeah,
Andrew,
we're gonna throw
what are we doing for
Marcus's
our schedule in December? Are we
December is gonna be. We're gonna do a early closing table next week. I don't know. We think about maybe Monday or Tuesday this coming week. So we're gonna do two in a row coming up, and then we'll be back firing all cylinders. We'll do one at the very end of the month. We're gonna take a little holiday break, and then starting January 1, we're gonna be full steam ahead.
excellent?
nice, nice.
Sweet deal. Well, Marcus, we appreciate you coming on here with us, man. And yeah, let's keep getting those reductions.
Likewise, man. I appreciate you and thank y'all for having me, brother. Let's have an awesome 2026.
Do it.
Let's get ready.
Hell yeah. Let's do it.
All right, fellas.
See
All
you
right,
later,
everyone.
guys.